There is Eileen Bukalski giving a big hug to Chris Bocci in front of the Rochester Community House. Coming up on the right is Regina Kowalski with the blonde hair, Mary Jo Custance with the brown hair. On the left is Steve Oshab smiling. Behind him is Al DeWitt. And Steve is going to shake somebody's hand. And it's somebody's hand. Oh, there's Jerry DeSchmidt in the back. And I don't know who that is. April Bush on the left and Peggy Closey on the right at the football game. Left to right and back, it's Eileen Bukalski, Vicki Dudek, Regina Kowalski, Pam Kuchera, Yola Filipek. In front, Mary Jo Custance and Barb Borowitz. Here's Ken Pitts, who drove all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. In front is Regina Kowalski and Mary Jane Bannis. And Vera Ryder is heading left. Behind Vera is Dennis Wozik and Dan Lavati chatting. And Tom Giroux coming into the picture. Chris Bocci on the left, Gail Stempian in the middle, and Pat Evely on the right. There is Fran Flasher in the background. The back of Dennis Wozik. There's Maxine Malotki hugging Eileen Bukalski. Regina hamming it up. There's Maxine, so pretty. To the right of Regina is Mark Jurich, who flew in from Colorado. Here's Gloria Hossel at the football game. That's Tom Giroux's wife Donna with her arms up in the air. Regina on our left. April Bush on the left. Tom Giroux. Oh, is that April patting Tom Giroux's butt while Donna isn't looking? Mr. Jim Parise at the football game. There is Mark Jurich on the left, Joe Roble, John Mangaliers, Pam Kuchera, and Al DeWitt. Mr. Barnett with Chris Larson from the class of '69. There is the lovely Barb Borowitz, who is doing the twist, I believe, right here. And on her right is Donna Giroux. Former football star and current Ironman Sam Hires hugging Chris Bocci at the football game. There is Steve Oshab, who drove up from Tennessee at the football game. April Bush and Peggy Closey at the football game. Here are the lovely ladies doing the hustle. Way in back, Barb Borowitz. In front of her, Susan Urban. In front of her, Pat Evely, Mary Jane Bannis, Gail Stempian, Pam Kuchera, Vicki Dudek, Carolyn Holeen, and coming up on the right is Diane Stack. At the football game, Wes Wolak and his wife Janice. There's the perpetually young Randy Stevenson with Phyllis Carnahan and me. There's Stella Burrows hugging somebody at the football game. I think it's Carol Bradshaw. Mr. Jerry Basinger. On the left, Eileen Bukalski, Vicki Dudek, Regina Kowalski, Pam Kuchera, Yolanda Filipek, Mary Jane Bannis, Diane Stack, and in front, Mary Jo Custance and Barb Borowitz. Here's me in the center of a group of teachers. Mrs. Pearl didn't get to see Mr. Parise and Mr. Barnett, so they came over to my dad's house on Sunday. Me and Chris Bocci at the football game. Mr. Jerry Basinger looking very happy and youthful. Spouse is taking photos. I don't know who it is on the left, but in the center, Steve Oshab and Vicki Dudek's husband, Bill Taylor. April Bush again. There's Mark Wygen at the podium with me. He gave the tribute to Mrs. Prowley's from the class of '69. Dennis Scholl, Tom Giroux, Jerry DeSchmidt, Dan Lavati, Steve Oshab, John Mangaliers, and in red on the back, a little bit of Gary Getz. Mr. Carmen Palmieri. Mike Mihalchek brought a big 60th birthday cake. This is me dancing with Mary Jo Custance. This is one of just 3 standing ovations that I received that night for the party. It was really, really memorable, and thanks. This is Cheryl Sainer, class of '69, and Doug Haxer. Dan Jackson in his '60s clothes. Mary Jo Custance, Regina Kowalski. Mrs. Marilyn Prell. Dan Lavati's wife with Dan Kasuth and his wife Colleen. Me, Kathy Merswa, with a big fat envelope. Mr. Barnett and Ms. Fran Flasher. Ms. Jensen and George Prell. Dave Margema. Me and Mike Quire in his vintage car. Me and Mr. Paris. Dennis Scholl. Wendy Hart and Shirley Smith. Left to right, there's Sue Pastoric, the back of Carolyn Holeen. There's Nancy Marfachuk. There's April Bush turning her head. Nancy Marfachuk in the back. You see Sue Evely, class of '69, and then her sister, Pat Evely, with the beautiful reddish hair. Mike Quire and his beautiful wife, Debbie. Me cheering at the football game. Me and Dan Jackson at the podium. Dave Gage took this beautiful group shot of the teachers. There's Mr. Basinger on the left, Ms. Flasher, George Prell, Ms. Jensen, Mr. Palmieri, and Marilyn Prell in front. This is Chris Bocci, our former cheerleader, and April Bush and I giving the cheer for all the teachers. We spelled out their names, so we're going, give me a P, give me A, R-I-S-E, Paris. This is Dwight Holeen. He volunteered to pull raffle tickets and announce winners, and he was such a funny ham. Coach John Barnett at the football game. Here I am with Dave Gage, my partner in crime. This is Carolyn Holeen on the left, John DeLude, Carol Brashaw. I think that's Nancy Marfachuk, Shirley Smith, and me and my mortarboard. On the left, Barb Lamkin, Eileen Bukalski, Mary Jane Banis. Dan Kasuth and Mr. Basinger at the football game. Sam Hires honoring Coach Barnett at the picnic. This is at the school tour. There's Mike Quire on the left with Richard Zaleva. Behind them is Martin Urban's wife. And then behind them, John Mangaliers. And I think that's Al DeWitt with John DeLude. Jerry DeSchmidt from Tucson and Tom Giroux. In white, there's Sandy Panty. In the background, Vicky Dudak. In green, Mary Jane Banis, Sam Hires, and Lilac. Oh gosh, Phyllis Carnahan in turquoise. And then on the left with the beer and blonde hair, Regina Kowalski Oshab. Mrs. Marilyn Prell in leopard.